letting everybody just come in on the conversation. As you know, in about 3 minutes time, we're going to have Stick Your Kick, Sidekick Chick. You've seen her loads of times on, hi Wes, how you doing? Seen loads of times on the page, and I'm sure you're going to appreciate some of the information that she's going to give to you. If you've got any questions, just tap them in there and I'll try and ask them. Let's just see where we are. Great, and there. I'll try and ask those questions for you. So hopefully this is going to be the first of many interviews. And as I say, we've got some people coming up that have been in the Olympics. There are going to be lots of different things that you're going to be able to see in these interviews over the next few weeks. Hopefully you'll enjoy this. Let's just come out of here. Okay, this is good. Yeah, great. Let's have a look. Here we go. Okay, so I think she's live and online. So let's just see if we can get her up here. Hi, thanks for joining. Hello there.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
That's fine. Welcome to Taekwondo Worldwide.
Thanks for having me. How are you? Everything all good?
Yeah. Apart from the obvious, which I think everybody's going through. How's it affecting you over there?
To be honest, we're just all in quarantine. So I've been saying this before. I moved to Pennsylvania away from family. But because this all happened and now I'm working from home, so I returned back to Jersey just to be with family during this time. Super important to me. They're very, very close. And so I'm happy here. I know we're all stuck inside, but at least we have each other to keep ourselves, occupied. And so I'm doing well here in Jersey.
and how has that affected your training? What are you doing to keep fit?
I'm going a little crazy over here because, the boxing gyms are closed. The jiu-jitsu school that I just started is now closed. And so I really have to take it upon myself to just kind of train outside. I have my sister here now that she's, also not going to school. So she's home. So we're just holding each other, mitts for each other. We're challenging each other. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Let's do this. So it's been a struggle because we don't have the team environment where we all go and we train. But, now we have to really just say, okay, be creative. What can I do to keep my training at the level that I want it to be at? So, and it really does help with this Instagram live or just anyone in general that they put all of these postings. They get very creative. So I just go on there and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this today. Oh, I'm going to do this today. So, everyone is, influencing each other and inspiring each other. So I think Instagram is a great training tool now.
Excellent. So you say you've got your sister there. So you've actually got your own training partner on hand.
I'm lucky. Not everyone does. Not everyone has someone, besides them, the same journey, the same goals, but I am. She's 13 and she kicks butt. She's way better than me, So I saw someone just recently post.
When are you gonna feature on your page?
I'm getting there. She's a little shy about it. She's like, a little hidden, but I kind of want to put her on there. She has great, amazing kicks. She's very fierce, and this is kind of like what I focus my page on now. Like I think about, posting certain things, but I always keep in the back of my mind, like, hey, is this a good post? Would my sister approve? Like, would I want people her age saying like, oh, you know what? That's a good post, I kind of definitely want to stay away from, just posting stuff for attention. I want it to be, meaningful behind it. I want to be a positive influence. And, nowadays you see certain people put stuff out there that are just not. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but the fact is that I want to post something that, like people that see it get influenced in a positive way rather than, just doing for, as people say, clout, right?
Yeah. So I watched a few of your videos earlier on your page, where you do a lot of stretching techniques. What do you find is the best way to stretch?
I mean, to be honest, there's so many approaches to it. I just think that first you have to understand what is your goal. You know, if you're just stretching because you need to, something as simple as pick up a pencil from the floor and you're like, you know, struggling, or, you know, taking it to the other extreme where you're in competition mode and you want to have like the best kicks, right? So first you need to understand what is your goal and then approach it. So, you know, if we go back to the pencil, right? Something as simple as like stretching, you know, a couple seconds or a couple minutes a day, nothing too serious. But now on the other hand, if you're trying to go for competition, I think that stretching has to be, it's mandatory, right? Absolutely mandatory. And the time that you set aside to it has to be way longer. And, you know, it has to be very uncomfortable when you're trying to reach a goal and you're trying to get that 12 o'clock side kick. You can't just stretch for, you know, like a minute. That's not going to work.
Do you think I'd ever manage that 12 o'clock side kick?
You know, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm super real. If you give it a couple of years, maybe. But you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of people that ask me like, hey, how do you get the splits? And they call it the splits. How do you get split, you know, like so fast, right? Like, give me the quickest way. And I'm like, I don't even reply to them because it's like, no, there's no quick way. And I'm gonna be straight up with you, like absolutely no quick. There's no shortcuts to this. And so, but I will say, anyone and everyone can improve their flexibility as long as you are persistent, as long as you keep on going and you're determined to do so, like anything in life, right?
Yeah, this is true. This is absolutely true. And you talk about competition. Would you have done any competitions this year if the virus hadn't been around?
Man, I miss competition so much, and to answer that, absolutely, I want to go back into competition. It was a huge part of my life. You know, I've said this before, but I was part of the organization called ATA, and so I used to compete super seriously for maybe about like 4 years in a row, and went to states, nationals, districts, world championship throughout the 4 years. So.
Fantastic.
And I was able to make the podium, you know, every year. So I miss it. I miss it. Maybe in the near future, after this whole thing blows over with the, you know, the coronavirus, I might be competing in boxing. I don't know. It's a little stretch, right? But I would love to.
Well, some people like to cross train, and there's quite a few people that I know that do Taekwondo now, that do other things as well. So what other things do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in Taekwondo, and I've said this a couple of times. I've done it for 18 years. I think it's taken a toll on my body for sure. I think my ankles, my hips, you know, are feeling it. So I said, you know, why not try something else? So I started boxing, and I've done it now for at least a year and a half, and so I love it. It's absolutely addicting. It keeps me going back, right? So boxing is something that I started, and after that I did Muay Thai for maybe like 3 months. I liked it. I did. Unfortunately, I haven't gone back just because of my whole moving and different locations. And then actually I started jiu-jitsu, which is very, very fun. It's challenging. I get beat up every class, but I love it because I'm not good at it, right? I'm just so used to being naturally talented, naturally gifted at something, and things come easier to me. But jiu-jitsu is so different.
Sure.
And you know, I sometimes like pull myself back because I want to like strike them or whatever it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, dang it, that's not allowed. Those are the 4 main things.
What Dan grade are you in Taekwondo?
So within Sangam Taekwondo, I'm a 4th degree black belt.
4th degree, gosh.
Yeah.
So do you instruct as well?
I used to, yeah. I used to do that professionally. I did that for about like 5 years. I went around and I was manager, program director, chief head instructor, and so for a couple of schools within the East and the West Coast. So I did that for a little bit. I loved it. I miss it. I want to go back. I think that's like my true passion and my calling, but all in due time.
Do you think that you could maybe set a challenge for our followers? Is there something you could put on your page as the stick your sidekick challenge?
Absolutely, I could definitely put some challenges. I love that people are tagging me on different things, different challenges. It keeps me active. So I'll definitely start one up, and it's not gonna be easy though.
Hey,
You know, I'm
we've
all
got a
about
lot of time to play with at the moment, so
I think so.
as long as
Seasonal goal.
it doesn't take about 4 weeks, then because I want my followers to try and tag me into this challenge so we can see their results as well.
Absolutely,
I've got someone
absolutely.
here
I'll put one out there.
he's saying, show us some kicks. Okay, so if you can send us some of your kicks, that would be fantastic. I can't imagine that you're appropriately dressed to set us some kicks at the moment, or are you?
I mean, we're at home right now, so I'm wearing literally sweats and leggings every day. Right now,
Yeah.
actually, I knew I was going to be live, so I was like, oh, let me just fix my hair a little bit. So, but I'm like, I'm wearing leggings all the time, but I'll send you guys definitely some videos or some kicks on that.
Fantastic. And if you could do a little bit of a stretching program, we'd really appreciate that. I'm sure the followers would love to see. I remember watching a video maybe 4 months ago where you were doing a floor routine, and it was quite traditional. It was things that I remember we used to do. I mean, I did my black belt in Taekwondo in 1999, so I might start giving my age away a little bit now. But I do remember we used to do that kind of training whereby you used to go down on all fours, and there were leg extensions behind, there were leg extensions to the side, there were lots of hip movements and circles and things like that. And I seem to remember you doing a series of videos along those sort of lines. Do you remember that?
Yeah. There's a couple, but yeah, I remember.
Yes, I mean, if you could send us anything like that, that would be great,